I think Michelle Bullock, as you said, has been an excellent appointment as Governor of the RBA. I was sceptical to begin with. I thought after Philip Lowe, it would have been good to get someone in there who wasn't from within the RBA microcosm, because often you end up with people from within the RBA who do what the RBA has always done because that's all they've ever known, and I think that's probably where Philip Lowe went wrong to some degree. But she has been very clear. She's a great communicator, and she's taken it up to the federal government. It's no surprise then that they would want to water down her power to some degree. The question is whether or not they can actually get what they want, which is an interest rate cut before the federal election.
And you look at the levers that they've used here, and certainly the two women who were mentioned as appointees are eminently qualified. But I look down the list and I see on a monetary policy board that's supposed to be for expertise there, we have Ian Ross, late of the Fair Work Commission, someone that the ALP has called upon to fill in a number of roles, and who is currently the head of something called the Net Zero Authority, appointed only earlier this year by the same Labor government. So on the one hand, he's meant to be in charge of a monetary policy board that, amongst other things, has full employment as an objective, but his day job is down at the Net Zero Authority, actually destroying the jobs of Australians by pursuing a crazy carbon goal. So it just makes you think that maybe people like Ian Ross are there really to be that conduit back to the government's role, and I don't see how that is really going to cut interest rates for anybody, because the only thing that's going to cut interest rates is government restraint on spending, which at the moment is out of control.
Well, I mean, if the federal government keeps going the way they are, we've had 7 straight quarters of household income going backwards. We'll actually end up with net zero money after all of this. So maybe they're actually onto something. Getting
and net zero jobs
from the Net Zero board to run the show. But you mentioned 2 women there, and I mentioned this before. What on earth is the Treasury doing? Oh, look, we've got lots of women on the RBA board. Does anyone actually look at the board of the RBA and go, oh my God, I'm really glad that we've got more women than men deciding whether or not my interest rate goes up or down? I think we're all just rather concerned with whether or not we have money to pay the bills and feed our children, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely. So the symbolic measures like this don't really go to the concerns of ordinary Australians. And the ironic thing for Jim Chalmers now, having been unsuccessful in 2024 in jawboning the RBA into a rate cut, is that perhaps one will be delivered just before the next election. But Caleb, Australians aren't mugs. They know what's been driving inflation and the cost of living crisis. And if a new RBA board, a monetary policy board, whether it's female-dominated or male-dominated, cuts 0.24% off the mortgage rate, and some of that gets passed through, Australians aren't mugs. They're going to see the big picture, and they're just going to see that as more tokenism, and I think at the ballot box they'll form a judgment based on 3 years of government, not two months of rate cuts.
Indeed, and they desperately want that rate cut because they haven't got much else to speak of as an achievement during their time in government. Scott Hargreaves, thank you so much for your time.